I have to say that it's quite a question mark for a number of military analysts why Russians were not much more effective, given the size of their force, given the capacity of their equipment, and of course given the advantage of coming into country from 3 different directions. They also used the units that were composed of a large number of conscripts with older equipment than they do have in their military arsenal. So it's quite a question why they were so ineffective in providing enough combat power, effective logistic support, why they didn't use effectively air assets.
They have a huge armoured column, 30 kilometres from Kyiv, but it's been there a number of days now. It doesn't seem to be moving. What's going on with that?
I have to repeat, actually, who knows? It's not normal that such a huge column moves on one route. Usually the columns would move on different routes, would be shorter to be better protected. Apparently they have some logistic issues, and the other reason I would see is that Russia doesn't want to get involved too much in street fights in Kyiv. First, destructing Kyiv is quite a sensitive issue for a number of Russians, and these town combats are extremely demanding in terms of losses on equipment and lives of soldiers. So Russia now has to face internal pressure given the number of casualties they have suffered in the war so far, and in Kyiv the number of casualties would be much, much higher.
So what do you think then the next few days are going to bring on the battlefield?
Russia will probably try to get control over the 2 major cities of Kharkiv and Kyiv, to encircle them, and in that way hoping that they will give up quite soon. It's apparently false expectation, because Ukrainians are extremely determined to continue fighting at any cost. And also with the growing pressure from the West on Russia, diminishing their resources to sustain the operation, with growing military support to Ukraine, providing a number of very effective, especially anti-tank and anti-aircraft weapons. The continuation of Russian offensive would be more and more difficult. So we may end up in a situation when both sides will get to the negotiating table.
The support for Ukraine from Western countries, obviously there's the economic sanctions, but they're supplying, you've mentioned some of these anti-aircraft, anti-tank. The Ukrainians have also got quite a fleet of drones that they're using. How effectively are they being used by the Ukrainians?
From what I see and hear from my Ukrainian colleagues, these anti-tank missiles are the same way as anti-aircraft missiles, and drones are extremely effective in fighting Russian armored vehicles. We heard the messages that those Turkish UAVs now caused several tens of lost heavy equipment on Russian side. And of course, it's creating wrinkles on Russian planners' faces, because they didn't expect such a heavy rate of losses.
Of course, if the Russians are able to encircle Kyiv and Kharkiv, supplies of ammunition and of anti-tank weapons, anti-aircraft weapons are going to diminish over time. So the Western supplies are simply not going to reach those cities, are they?
That's true. But on the other hand, it would need quite a lot of troops, a lot of force to effectively control this encirclement, because Kyiv is a large city with the big river crossing the city, so getting somehow into it probably would be still possible. But at the same time, Ukrainians have still plans B and C, I hope, how to continue their defense, even in a case when Kyiv is incapacitated by encirclement. So they still have quite significant military capability.